disagree with a lot of people, but do you think the game has evolved? I don't think it has.
The basics of the game hasn't evolved. The basics is still the basics of the game. You got to be able to defend. You got to be able to score. You got to rebound. You got to block shots. Got to communicate. You got to be fit. Like, those are the basics of the game. I just think this generation, these younger players, like, they took
Luka's game.
I like Luka. Luka can play. If you could pass my hate test.
What's a hate test?
Like Steph Curry, I was like, that shit lucky. He keep doing it. That shit lucky. Find the point. All right, this can play. I hate Luka until I seen him play. I'm like, this white boy all right.
Shaq exposes the truth. Luka has skill. LeBron has hype. The basketball world stopped spinning. In one unscripted, unfiltered moment, Shaquille O'Neal, Hall of Famer, cultural icon, and one of the most dominant forces the game has ever known, dropped a take so radioactive it melted the internet. On live television, with millions watching, he drew a line in the sand between two generations, between two types of greatness, and in doing so, he ignited a firestorm that's burning down every polite conversation we've ever had about who truly owns this era. It was supposed to be a standard segment on the popular NBA panel show. The topic was classic, one they revisited often, the evolution of the game's superstars. The conversation was flowing easily until the host pivoted to a direct, loaded question aimed at Shaquille O'Neal. Shaq, as someone who redefined dominance, when you watch Luka Dončić manipulate defenses with that pace, that vision, does he remind you of anyone from your era in terms of pure skill? Shaq leaned back in his chair, the familiar playful glint in his eye hardening into something more analytical. He let the question hang for a beat. See, that's the thing, he began, his voice dropping into a more serious register. When I watch Luka, I see skill. I see a masterclass. The step-backs, the passing, the footwork, it's artistry. You can teach the principles, but you can't teach what he has. It's innate. The panel nodded, expecting a complimentary comparison to Larry Bird or Magic Johnson. But Shaq wasn't finished. He leaned forward, his massive screen dominating the screen. Now, you look at a guy like LeBron, phenomenal, greatest athlete maybe we've ever seen. The power, the durability, the intelligence, a freight train with a PhD. But a lot of that, he paused searching for the right word, is hype. The narrative, the constant greatest of all time talk that follows every move he makes, the brand, it's manufactured greatness. The air was instantly sucked out of the studio. The other analysts froze, their smiles plastered and brittle. The host's eyes went wide. You could hear a pin drop in the control room. Shaq continued, doubling down. I'm not taking anything away from LeBron's accomplishments. 4 rings, the points record, unbelievable. But when you break it down to the pure, raw skill of playing basketball, the stuff you can't get from just being a genetic freak or a marketing machine, that's where Luka is operating on a different level. LeBron has the legacy, Luka has the game. With that, he sat back, as if he just commented on the weather, but he hadn't. He had detonated a device at the very heart of the NBA's most sacred debate, drawing a brutal, controversial line between two types of superstardom, and in the process, questioning the very foundation of LeBron James's historical standing.
I just come back from Madison Avenue.
How was that?
It was nice. You make a lot of money there.
That's a good thing.
Yes, but they're mad at me because I haven't been there in a while, but I'm coming. I'm coming around.
Well, I'm glad to be in LA with you right now. I have a few questions for you.
Go ahead.
Okay, first of all, when you look at Luka and LeBron, have you ever seen anything like that before?
Yeah. Throughout the league, it's always been.
In my mind, LeBron James is the greatest basketball player who ever lived, ever played.
Never saw him.
Bigger, stronger, faster.
And hold on. You said LeBron James the greatest player ever?
Ever.
What about Michael and Kobe?
The fallout was instantaneous and volcanic. The clip of Shaq's comments was clipped, repackaged, and sent rocketing across every social media platform within minutes. The algorithm feasted. The title was always some variation of Shaq drops bomb on LeBron, or Shaq says Luka is skill, LeBron is hype. The basketball internet, perpetually divided, shattered into all-out war. Team LeBron mobilized with ferocious speed. Pundits, former teammates, and legions of fans slammed Shaq's comments as disrespectful, reductive, and deliberately inflammatory. Hype doesn't last 21 seasons, read one viral tweet. Hype doesn't lead you to 10 finals appearances, said another. They argued that Shaq was diminishing LeBron's otherworldly basketball IQ, his passing genius that rivals point guards, and his ability to dominate a game in more ways than just scoring. They framed it as bitterness, as an old legend trying to tear down the new king to feel relevant. They pointed to Shaq's own history of playful, and sometimes not so playful, jabs at other greats, painting this as just another attention grab from the big entertainer. But Team Luka and a significant contingent of basketball purists found a rallying cry. For them, Shaq had given voice to a long-held but often silent belief. They saw his comments not as an attack on LeBron's achievements, but as a precise distinction between accomplishment and artistry. Skill became their mantra. They flooded timelines with clips of Luka's impossible, off-balance step-back threes, his no-look passes from the logo, his herky-jerky drives that broke defenders' ankles with changes of speed, not just explosive power. They contrasted it with clips of LeBron's powerful linear drives to the rim, his bully ball post-ups. The argument wasn't about who was better, it was about the nature of their greatness. LeBron was the ultimate force of nature, the hurricane. Luka was the ultimate surgeon, the chess master. And Shaq, a force of nature himself, was seemingly placing a higher value on the surgeon's precise skill. The media frenzy was all-consuming. Every sports talk show, from cable giants to local radio, led with the topic. The debate was no longer about MVP races or playoff matchups. It was a philosophical cage match about how we evaluate greatness itself. Is sustained athletic dominance over 2 decades more impressive than a pure...
The LeBron situation now with Luka, and then you got Reeves, and now LeBron kind of trying to get reintegrated. Can he be a complementary player, do you think?
I mean, I don't want to be the one that's saying LeBron is a complimentary player. It's just that I think LeBron knows and understands that at some point this thing comes to an end. And LeBron has always been a team guy first. So, right now he's...
Yeah, 41 years old, second leg of the back-to-back, arguably one of your...
To understand the nuclear weight of Shaq's words, you have to understand Shaq himself. This wasn't a random analyst spouting a hot take. This was Shaquille O'Neal, a man whose entire career existed in the tension between undeniable, dominant skill and self-created, monumental hype. He was perhaps the most physically gifted center ever, with footwork and touch that defied his size, pure, unstoppable skill. Yet he was also Shaq, the rapper, the actor, the genie, the larger-than-life personality who marketed himself into a global icon. He was Diesel. He was the big Aristotle. He manufactured his own hype on a scale never before seen for a big man. His relationship with LeBron has always been complex. Publicly, it's been a mix of deep respect and playful, sometimes pointed critique. Shaq has praised LeBron's longevity and intelligence relentlessly, but there have been moments, the infamous "stop it, get some help" meme about LeBron's celebration, subtle digs about leadership, that hinted at a more nuanced, perhaps competitive view. Some analysts speculated that Shaq, who fiercely believes his Lakers three-peat team is the last true NBA dynasty, views LeBron's more nomadic, super team-fueled championships through a different, more traditional lens. LeBron's greatness is undeniable to Shaq, but the path to it and the culture of constant GOAT debate that surrounds it might feel foreign, even artificial to the old guard. This context makes his skill versus hype comment feel deeply personal. In elevating Luka's pure skill, was Shaq indirectly commenting on his own legacy? Was he saying that in his heart he values the artist, the Luka, the Kobe, the Olajuwon, over the overpowering force? Or was he drawing a line between an organic, game-focused greatness and a modern, media-saturated version? By using the word hype, a word so tied to marketing and narrative, he wasn't just critiquing LeBron, he was critiquing the entire ecosystem that has grown around him. The 24/7 debate shows, the social media legions, the branding empire. He was, in a way, separating LeBron the player from LeBron the phenomenon, and suggesting that the phenomenon sometimes overshadows and even distorts the appreciation of the player's actual game. In doing so, Shaq wasn't just starting a debate about today's stars. He was forcing a reckoning with how we've talked about his own era and every era that came before.
Oh, 39, 38, 39.
to put into perspective what LeBron is doing right now, do you even because we say 40, this is crazy, but someone that actually tried to play,
it's less physical, and he's always done this his whole career. He never really done that. So, but the fact that is
I didn't watch it, but I know the fact that one dude of y'all, 21 turnovers, 3 people had
In the storm of hot takes and viral clips, the most powerful statements were the ones not made. The basketball world held its breath, waiting for a response from the two men at the center of the hurricane, LeBron James and Luka Dončić. Their silence was a vacuum, and nature abhors a vacuum, so the speculation roared even louder. LeBron's social media, usually a curated mix of family, business, and motivational messaging, became a forensic lab. Fans scanned every story, every like for a clue, a posted lyric about noise, a workout video with extra intensity. His silence was masterful and punishing. It conveyed a towering, unbothered dismissiveness. To respond would be to legitimize the debate, to stoop to the level of what his camp likely viewed as manufactured drama. His lack of comment was the loudest comment of all. Shaq's opinion was irrelevant to the mountain of evidence that was LeBron's career. It was the power move of a king who knows his throne is secure, refusing to debate its legitimacy with a former member of the court. Luka Dončić, notoriously press-shy when it comes to drama, offered a similar, if more characteristically casual, silence. When finally asked about Shaq's comments after a game, he shrugged with a faint, embarrassed smile. "Shaq is great. LeBron is the greatest. I'm just playing basketball, man." It was the perfect, humble deflection. He refused to be weaponized. He wouldn't touch the skill versus hype framing with a 10-foot pole, understanding that any acceptance of the compliment would be seen as an endorsement of the critique. His reaction protected him, honored LeBron, and subtly underscored the very basketball-first mentality Shaq was praising. The real reaction came from the basketball intelligentsia. Former players and coaches weighed in, and the divide was stark. Some, particularly those from Shaq's era or who value post-play, nodded in agreement with the sentiment about pure skill. Others, especially those who played with or against LeBron, came to his fierce defense, arguing that LeBron's combination of physical tools, passing vision, and basketball intellect is the ultimate skill, a skill so complete it transcends traditional categories. The debate had evolved from a Twitter fight into a genuine, high-level basketball discourse. Shaq's grenade hadn't just caused an explosion, it had cleared the rubble, forcing everyone to confront the raw, undecorated question: what do we value most?
Shaq, how are you, sir? Good to see you.
Tell the young lady who did the promo that she didn't announce me properly.
And that is, how should you be? Should I get a pen to take this down?
No, it's only one word.
Okay.
Legend. Shaquille O'Neal.
Okay, so let me make up for it again.
Yes.
If you don't mind, Don Bowie, take my single.
09 Bron more athletic than any Jordan. It's crazy. Bron's a freak athlete though.
Yes, I'm taking Jordan.
Can we do 85? Can we do 86 Jordan highlight?
I'm not passing it.
Shaq's skill versus hype dichotomy did more than compare two players. It exposed a deep cultural fault line in how basketball is consumed and judged in the 21st century. On one side lies the purist camp. For them, basketball is an art form. Its highest praise is for the indefinable magic, the skill Shaq referenced. They venerate the craft, the dream shake, the sky hook, the Tim Duncan bank shot, the Luka step back. Their pantheon is built on aesthetic beauty and technical mastery. LeBron's dominance, while respected, can feel to them like a triumph of overwhelming force and supreme intelligence over pure artistry. The constant GOAT discourse surrounding him feels like hype, a noisy, corporate-driven narrative that distracts from the quiet appreciation of the game's finer points. On the other side is the modernist camp, for whom basketball is the ultimate meritocracy of results. Their metrics are rings, longevity, statistics, and impact. In this view, LeBron's ability to maintain peak performance, to shape offenses, to carry franchises for 2 decades is the ultimate skill. a skill of mind, body, and will that is rarer than a pretty jumper. What purists dismiss as hype, modernists see as the deserved cultural resonance of unprecedented achievement. To them, Luka's dazzling highlights, while beautiful, are just that, highlights. The full picture of greatness is painted over a 15-year canvas, not in a 15-second clip. Shaq, perhaps unintentionally, became the champion of the purists. His comments were a rebellion against the analytics-driven, legacy-obsessed debate show culture that defines the modern NBA conversation. By praising Luka's skill, he was nostalgically reaching for a time when greatness was measured by what you could do with the ball in your hands, not by your legacy brand or your playoff Raptor rating. He was pining for an era where the hype was earned on the parquet.
And evolved it. Like they elevated this. It's we had guys who do a step back. We didn't have guys that do a double step back. We didn't have guys that do a triple step back.
And let me tell you why I disagree. And I get hated on this for this, but if I can't take you and say y'all can play with us, I don't think it's evolved. That's just me.
All right.
That's just me.
That to him. Off target, long lead. Oh, what a great touchdown pass to LeBron.
Look at that pass from Marcus Smart.
Boom.
I mean, that was a dart, goes right on who finishes it off in style.
That was.
In the end, Shaq's explosive comments leave us not with an answer, but with an unanswerable, haunting question. Can we, or should we, separate the player from the phenomenon? Is LeBron James' legacy the story of a basketball player, or is it the story of an era, a cultural tidal wave that he both rode and propelled? The hype Shaq references isn't false. It's the roaring sound of history being made in real time. It's the global spotlight that has followed his every move since he was a teenager, a spotlight he has used with unparalleled intelligence to build an empire. That empire, that narrative, that hype is now an inseparable layer of his basketball identity. To remove it is to tell an incomplete story. Conversely, Luka Dončić represents a potential alternative timeline. He is a throwback in mentality, a player whose hype is still, for now, almost entirely generated by his on-court wizardry. There is no billion-dollar brand to manage, no production company, no grand political or social statements. The narrative around him is still primarily about basketball. Shaq's praise is a hope, perhaps, that Luka can remain in that space, that his legacy can be built on skill alone, untouched by the distorting gravity of modern celebrity. But it is a fragile hope. The machine that created LeBron's hype is already turning for Luka. The question is whether he will master it, be consumed by it, or simply ignore it. Shaq's truth bomb, therefore, is less a verdict and more a prophecy. It foreshadows the inevitable clash between these two models of superstardom. It asks us what we want our legends to be: untouchable artists we admire from the gallery, or monumental forces that reshape the world around them. LeBron is the mountain, impossible to ignore, defined by its sheer scale and permanence. Luka is the lightning storm, breathtaking, dazzling, a display of raw, terrifying power and beauty. Shaq didn't tell us which is greater. He simply made us look at the mountain and the storm and admit they are fundamentally different forces of nature. And in doing so, he changed the weather of the debate forever. So where do you land? Was Shaq onto something profound, exposing a truth we've been too afraid to say, that pure artistic skill is being overshadowed by branding and narrative? Or did he disrespect a legend's 2 decades of dominance by dismissing it as hype? Is Luka Dončić's game the purest form of basketball artistry we've seen in a generation? Or is LeBron's sustained, multifaceted dominance the truest, most difficult skill of all? The lines are drawn. The debate is alive. This is no longer about stats or rings. It's about what we value in the very soul of the game. Sound off in the comments. Skill or hype? Whose side are you on? For more deep dives into the debate,